Okay, this is the 1986 Strat-O-Matic baseball replay. We are at the All-Star break, so I figured I'll play a game, the All-Star game, on and tape it and see how this goes. It's gonna be kind of raw. I'm not an editor, so any mistakes or whatever, I'm not gonna clean up. I'm just gonna go as I go along. So, as we know, a 1986 All-Star game was held at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. So, let's get this game going, and here we go. So, for the American League, we're going to look at their team, and we got, first of all, the coaches for the American League. We got Boston Red Sox John McNamara, Cleveland Indians Pat Corrales, and the Texas Rangers Bobby Valentine. From the Baltimore Orioles, we got relief pitcher Don A's, shortstop Cal Ripken. From the Boston Red Sox, Marty Barrett, Wade Boggs, Jim Rice, who was voted to the All-Star game, but due to injury cannot play. He's still out for a couple more weeks. From the California Angels, pitcher John Candelaria, relief pitcher Donnie Moore, starting pitcher Mike Witt. For the Chicago White Sox, starting pitcher Joe Cowley. First baseman from the Cleveland Indians, Joe Carter. Relief pitcher from the Detroit Tigers, Willie Hernandez. Starting pitcher Jack Morris. From the Kansas City Royals, relief pitcher Steve Farr. Catcher Jim Sundberg. From the Milwaukee Brewers, relief pitcher Mark Clear. From the Minnesota Twins, starting pitcher Bert Blyleven. From the New York Yankees, center fielder Ricky Henderson. From the Oakland Athletics, shortstop Alfredo Griffin. Starting pitcher Moose Haas. And designated hitter Dave Kingman. From the Seattle Mariners, left fielder Phil Bradley, who took the spot of Jim Rice. From the Texas Rangers, center fielder Oddibe McDowell. And from the Toronto Blue Jays, right fielder Jesse Barfield. And relief pitcher Mark Eckhorn. Now for the starting lineup for the American League. First, the 1985 World Series champion Kansas City Royals manager Dick Howser. From the California Angels, playing center field, Gary Pettis. From Toronto Blue Jays, playing shortstop, Tony Fernandez. From the California Angels, first baseman, Wally Joyner. From the Toronto Blue Jays, left fielder, George Bell. Third baseman for the Minnesota Twins, Gary Gaetti. From the Detroit Tigers, designated hitter Darrell Evans. From the Kansas City Royals, second baseman Frank White. For the Detroit Tigers, right fielder Kurt Gibson. From Toronto Blue Jays, catcher Ernie Witt. And starting pitcher for the American League from the Boston Red Sox, Roger Clemens. Now for the National League. Managers. From the Los Angeles Dodgers. No, from the Houston Astros, Hal Lanier. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, Tommy Lasorda. From the New York Mets, Davey Johnson. From the Atlanta Braves, relief pitcher Gene Garber. And first baseman Bob Horner. From the Chicago Cubs, DH Ron Cey. Catcher Jody Davis. From the Cincinnati Reds, third baseman Buddy Bell. Center fielder Eric Davis. Relief pitcher John Franco. From the Houston Astros, right fielder Kevin Boss. Shortstop Craig Reynolds, who's taking the spot for the injured Hubie Brooks. Starting pitcher Nolan Ryan. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, relief pitcher Ken Howell. Starting pitcher Fernando Valenzuela. From the Montreal Expos, shortstop Hubie Brooks, who is voted in but unable to play in the game. Right fielder Andre Dawson. Relief pitcher Andy McGaffigan. From the New York Mets, center fielder Len Dykstra. Starting pitcher Sid Fernandez. Starting pitcher Dwight Gooden. Starting pitcher Bob Ojeda. From the Philadelphia Phillies, second baseman Juan Samuel. From the Pittsburgh Pirates, starting pitcher Jose De Leon. Relief pitcher Don Robinson. From the St. Louis Cardinals, left fielder Vince Coleman. And from the San Francisco Giants, relief pitcher Jeff Robinson. Now for the starting lineup for the National League. Coach for the National League pennant winners St. Louis Cardinals in 1985, Whitey Herzog. From the Montreal Expos and playing left field, Tim Raines. From the Los Angeles Dodgers, playing second base, Steve Sachs. From the Philadelphia Phillies, playing third base, Mike Schmidt. From the New York Mets, designated hitter George Foster. From the New York Mets, catcher Gary Carter. For the Philadelphia Phillies, first baseman Von Hayes. From the Montreal Expos, center fielder Mitch Webster. From the San Diego Padres, right fielder Tony Gwynn. From the St. Louis Cardinals, playing shortstop, Ozzie Smith. And the starting pitcher for the National League from the Houston Astros, Mike Scott. So that is your team, and that is your starting lineups. So before we get the game started, we will play the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise for the presentation of the colors in center field. The national anthems of Canada and the United States will be sung by actress and model, the talented Sherry Belafonte Harper. To honor America, we invite you to join in the Star-Spangled Banner.
Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed as the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets crashing, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
90 degrees and humid outside, but as always, a comfortable and very pleasant air-conditioned 72 degrees in the Astrodome as we get set for the All-Star game.
Taking the time, Taylor Thomas's crunchy yet soft.
Okay, we'll be starting the game in just a moment. Just a little recap. This game is going to be a 12-inning game where everyone has to participate. That is what I set up for this. And there is going to be two things that's going to happen. The league that wins the All-Star game will get home field advantage for the World Series. And the league that happens to lose will get additional playoff teams added to their playoff side, additional wild card teams. So that's what they're playing for tonight in this 12-inning affair. It's going to be played as per normal. There will be no injuries, so if any injuries happen to come up on the players' cards, since this is the All-Star game, we're not going to injure any players during the All-Star game. So we will just take the situation and not avoid the injury. They'll also avoid the 666 injury to the pitchers. So if that comes up, again, we will not do that as well. So there will be no injuries during this playing of this 1986 All-Star game from the Astrodome. So let's get ourselves ready to go, and let's get set for the top of the first inning. Our third base coach for the American League is going to be manager Pat Corrales, and the first base coach is going to be John McNamara. Okay. We got in left field Tim Raines. Center field, Mitch Webster. Right field, Tony Gwynn. Third base, Mike Schmidt. Shortstop, Ozzie Smith. Second baseman, Steve Sachs. First baseman, Von Hayes. Behind the plate, Gary Carter. And on the mound, Mike Scott. Okay. So, leading off for the American League is center fielder Gary Pettis. Gary Pettis, he, through 79 games this season, has been .275 with 8 home runs and 28 RBIs, and leads the American League with 88 stolen bases. Okay, and here we go. And the first pitch of the All-Star game, we got a batter's 3 and a 3. So we got 3, 3. So Gary Pettis, ground ball to Steve Sachs, who throws it over to Von Hayes for the first out of the game. Ground out. Batting second, shortstop Tony Fernandez. Tony Fernandez, he's batting .302 with 7 home runs, 56 RBIs, and 47 stolen bases on the year. And Mike Scott, He is coming into the game with a 14-3 record, with a 1.81 ERA in 18 games started this year. Okay, the next pitch, we got a 3 and a 7. So we got 3, 7. It's a pop out to Mike Schmidt for the second out of the inning. Batting third is rookie first baseman Wally Joyner. Wally Joyner currently, through 81 games, is leading the American League in average with 354. And he has 18 home runs and 62 RBIs. He has 0 stolen bases. He's within the Triple Crown hunt. So, next pitch for Mike Scott. It's a 2 and a 3. And 2, 3. That's a pop-up to Von Hayes. And that is the third out of the inning. A quick 1, 2, 3 for Mike Scott. And then we're going to head to the bottom of the first. American League doesn't get anything. Score is 0-0. Okay. American League. Left fielder George Bell. Center fielder Gary Pettis. Right field is Kurt Gibson. Third base is Gary Gaetti. Shortstop is Tony Fernandez. Second base, Frank White. First baseman, Wally Joyner. Behind the plate, Ernie Witt. On the mound, Roger Clemens. And for the National League, Tommy Lasorda is going to be the third base coach. And Davey Johnson is going to be the first base coach. Leading off is left fielder Tim Raines. Roger Clemens is coming into this game with a 10-8 record. He has a 2.62 ERA in 18 games started. Tim Raines, in 75 games, he leads the National League in hitting with a 347 average, 4 home runs, 40 RBIs, and 76 stolen bases. Okay, and first pitch, we got a 2 and a 7. So 2-7, and that is a single for Raines. Well, I guess we'll just use these guys. It's a single for Raines. Up next is second baseman Steve Sachs. With Tim Raines on first base. He is quite stealthy. And we're going to try to see if he could steal second base off of Ernie Witt. Ernie Witt's a -1 throwing. So Tim Raines is AA. So that makes him a 1-17. He's being held on. So that's 1-15. And then a -1 from Ernie Witt is a 1-14. So let's see what he gets here. Ooh, he gets a 14. Exactly. So he steals second base with ease. Okay. So with the man on second, Steve Sachs. We got a 6 and a 3. So we got 6-3. He hits the ball to shortstop. So it's Tony Fernandez. Tony Fernandez. So it's a ground ball, shortstop X. So the ball's hit to Tony Fernandez. Tony Fernandez is a 1. And we rolled also, because I roll all dice together. So we got a 15 on that roll. So shortstop 15. That's a ground ball A. So Fernandez reins back and throws out Sachs at first base. So there's a fielder's choice. Okay. Oh, and Sachs is batting .320 on the year with 5 home runs, 37 RBIs, and 71 stolen bases. Coming up next is Mike Schmidt. Mike Schmidt's batting .293. with 21 home runs and 56 RBIs, 71 games this year. He's looking to see if he can hit the 500 mark this year. He's 21 home runs away, and he already has 21 on the season. So, man on second. 1 out, and the pitch. We got a 6 and another 6. So we got 6-6. So that's a split on Roger Clemens' card. So we got, let's take a look here. So 6-6 is a strikeout. Actually, it wasn't a split. 6-6. I was looking at the one above it. So 6-6, Mike Schmidt strikes out. Okay. So Raines on second, 2 outs. Brings up designated hitter George Foster, who in 76 games with the Mets this year is hitting .283 with 20 home runs and 56 RBIs. Okay. So 2 outs and the pitch. We got another 6-6. So I'll go to Clemens' card. 6. Another 6, right-handed batter. That's a strikeout. So he strikes out George Foster to end the inning. So after 1, it's American League nothing, National League nothing. Well, you get the gist. All right. So we're going to the top of the second, where we got 4, 5, 6 for American League. Okay. So coming up is left fielder George Bell. George Bell in 86 games has hit 290 with 23 home runs and 65 RBIs. Okay, some big power here. Okay. So, first pitch of the second inning. And we got a 2 and a 6. So, George Bell, 2 and a 6. Right-hander, 2, 6. It's a split. So, he's got a triple and a double split. And I always roll this dice with this. So, we got a 10 on that. So, a 10 on that split is going to be a double. So George Bell leads off the inning with the double. Next up is third baseman Gary Gaetti. Gary Gaetti this year, he's hitting a .318 with 23 home runs and 51 RBIs and 1 stolen base. Okay, and set for the pitch, and it's a 4 and a 3. So 4 and a 3. So Gaetti going to Scott's car. So 4 and a 3, and that is a walk. So it's a walk to Gaetti, and that's 2 quick guys on for the American League. Next up is designated hitter for the Detroit Tigers, Darrell Evans. It's first and second. And with the Tigers this year, Darrell Evans is hitting .253 with 19 home runs and 53 RBIs. Both guys are being held on. So we got a 2 and an 8. So a 2 and an 8 right-handed, and Evans pops up to Steve Sachs. So that is the first out of the inning. Next up is second baseman Frank White. Frank White this year, he's batting .311 with 16 home runs, 49 RBIs, and 1 stolen base. So again, first and second are being held, and the pitch. We got a 6 and a 9. So 6 and 9. Bring the White Scott. So 6, 9. Okay, 9 for right-handed batter is a ground ball to the shortstop, X. So it's a ground ball to Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith, of course, is number 1. And I rolled a 12. So 12. Okay, that's not on the board here. So that's going to be an E. Oh, E what? Okay. Ozzie's an E17. So we're going to shake the 2 dice. And we got a 5 and a 4, so that's 9. So E17 and a 9 is 6 through 10 is a ground ball A. So Ozzie flips it to Sachs, and then Sachs goes to Hayes, and that's a double play, and that is going to end the inning and end the threat. So American League's going to leave 1 man on, and they collect 1 hit. And that is through the top of the second. Tony Fernandez, Kirk Gibson, Gary Pettis, Bobby Joyner, Randy Witt, Roger Clemens. Okay, so coming up in the bottom of the second, we got catcher for the New York Mets, Gary Carter. Right. And all right. So Gary Carter. And we got the pitch. And we got a 4 and a 9. 4 and a 9. So right-handed here, catcher, pitcher's card. 4-9 is a ground ball shortstop X. So he hits it to Tony Fernandez, and he's a 1, and we got a 4 on the roll. So 4 is ground ball A, so he grounds out to Tony Fernandez off the first base, Wally Joyner, and that's the first out of the inning. Next up, first baseman for Philadelphia Phillies, Von Hayes. Von Hayes this year in 86 games, he's batting .276 with a 17 home runs, 60 RBIs, and 22 stolen bases. And there's the pitch. We got a 5 and a 7. So 5-7, another pitcher's card. So 5-7, that's a split. And I got a 3 on the split. And 3 would be a single, 1 through 4. So there's a single for Von Hayes to lead, to get on base for the National League. So Von Hayes is on first. He has 22 stolen bases this year too. I think he's gonna be held on, but I don't think we're gonna have the next batter bat. Next batter is center fielder Mitch Webster for the Montreal Expos. Mitch Webster this year in 78 games, he's hitting .295 with 4 home runs, 44 RBIs, and 47 stolen bases. And the pitch. So we got a 3 and a 7, so we're going right on to the hitter's card. So I got Clemens as a right-hander, so right here 3, 7. So there's a single to left field, so single to George Bell. So he hits it here, and Hayes is going to stay at second, and then Webster's going to stay there at first base. And we're going to hold on Von Hayes here. Next batter for the San Diego Padres, right fielder Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn in the year, he's played 86 games. He's hitting .335 with 5 home runs, 31 RBIs, and 56 stolen bases. So we got 1 out, 2 on. Here's the pitch. Ooh, and you can see there's a 5. So we got a 6, a 5, and a 5. So 6 and 10. So that is a pitcher's card. So lefty batter, 6, 10. And that's a fly ball center field X. So the ball's hit to Gary Pettis. Gary Pettis is a 1, and we rolled a 13. So let's see what we got. Center field here. Center field 13. That's a fly ball C. And fly ball C, the batter's out on the fly out, and the runners hold. So it's just a loud line drive to center field for the fly out. So that's be 2 outs. Next up is Ozzie Smith. Oh, I can't believe I didn't. Oh, there's Tony. Go ahead and put his card up. All right, so next up is Ozzie Smith. He'll also be batting lefty. So we got 2 men on and 2 outs. And here's the pitch from Clemens. We got a 4 and we got a 6. So it's another pitcher's card. So he's batting lefty, so lefty, 4, 6, and that's a strikeout. He sits down the wizard. So after 2 innings, the score is 0-0. And we're going to head to the top of the third. And don't worry about the cards either. This is like my 3rd complete set of 1987. So I'm not worried about scratching up these cards. Okay, so we got Sorta, Johnson. Okay. Hayes, Carter, Smith, Tony Gwynn, Webster, Tim Raines, Steve Sachs, Scott there. Okay. All right, so we're heading up to the top of the third, and leading off is going to be right fielder Kirk Gibson. Kirk this year for Detroit's played in 74 games. He has batting .266 with 19 home runs, 46 RBIs, and 44 stolen bases. So, here we go with the pitch. We got a 4 and a 7. So 4-7 to the pitcher's car. So lefty, 4-7. It's a split. And we got 17 on the split. So let's see. The split is a double and a fly ball to center B. And that's 6-20. So it's going to be a fly ball to Mitch Webster for a quick fly out. Next up is from the Toronto Blue Jays. It's going to be catcher Ernie Witt. Ernie Witt this year for Toronto has played 63 games, hitting .297 with 10 home runs and 38 RBIs. And a pitch from Scott to Ernie Witt. We got a 2 and a 4, so we got batter's card. So right-handed pitcher, 2-4. We had a ground ball, second base C, so hard slapper to Steve Sachs, who throws him out to Von Hayes for the second out of the inning. And then we're back up to the top of the order again. And we got Gary Pettis. And he's 0 for 1 with the ground out. And a pitch. All right, we got a 4 and an 8, so pitcher's card. So we got, okay, lefty, 4 and an 8, and that's a line drive out to Von Hayes for the third out of the inning. So that'll end the top of the third. Again, through 2.5, we got the American League nothing, American League nothing, National League nothing. Okay. So we're coming up to the top of the order. That's going to be left fielder Tim Raines, who's 1 for 1 with a single and a stolen base. Currently warming up in the National League bullpen is Sid Fernandez from the New York Mets. Okay. So the first pitch from Clemens. We got a 2 and a 10. So we got the hitter's card. So right-handed pitcher, 2-10. That's a single for Raines. Another single. Should we dare try it again to try to steal the base? I think we're going to. So we're going to try to steal it again. So again, it's Tim Raines is AA, which is a 1 through 17. He's being held on, which takes off 2, so it's 1 to 15. And Ernie Witt's a -1, so it's a 14, so 1 to 14. And as you can see, we got a 5. So that's another stolen base for Tim Raines. Okay. Next up, second baseman, Steve Sachs. Okay, Steve Sachs is gonna try to sacrifice bunt Tim Raines over. So we're going to shake this. So we got Steve Sachs bunting is a B. And we're gonna shake the dice here. And we got a 5 and a 7. 5 and a 7, B for a sacrifice. Batter's thrown out by first baseman. So the batter's thrown out by Wally Joyner to Roger Clemens, and Tim Raines advances 1 base. So sacrifice bunt brings Raines to third, and Sachs was thrown out at first. So there's a sacrifice there. And now we got 1 out with Mike Schmidt up next. Mike Schmidt coming up. The infield is playing in. Okay. And the pitch. So we got a 2 and an 8. So that's the batter's card. So right with 2 and an 8 is a walk. So Mike Schmidt has been walked. Okay. With a man on first and third, the infield is going to play back in double play depth. Let's see if they could get George Foster to hit into a inning double play. He struck out last time. Okay. Schmidt's being held on at first. Raines is not. And the pitch. We got a 4 and a 5 in the pitcher's card. So right 4-5. That is a pop out to the first baseman. So George Foster pops out to Wally Joyner for the second out of the inning. All right, 2 outs, 2 men on. And everyone's going to play off the bag. They're not going to hold Schmidt. And they're not going to hold Raines with 2 outs. So up next is Gary Carter. And the pitch. Gary Carter, we got a 2 and a 9, so that's a hitter's card. And a 2 and a 9, so 2, 9, right-handed pitcher is a strikeout. So Clemens strikes out Carter with 2 men on. So there was some life for the National League that inning, but nothing happened. So that's going to be that. All right. Here. Okay, I'll take this here. These guys will come off. These are going to come off too. All right. So we're heading into the top of the 4th. Okay, so that there. Okay, there. Alice Thompson. And new pitcher for the National League is Sid Fernandez from the New York Mets. He's started 17 games this year. He's at 12-5 record with a 194 ERA. So big lefty for the Mets. He's going to be starting off in the 4th inning here against Tony Fernandez. Tony Fernandez is 0 for 1 with a pop out. And then he's going to push him on the other side. Okay. Well, down in the bullpen, in the American League side, it looks like Jack Morris is now warming up. Okay, so Sid Fernandez versus Tony Fernandez. And the pitch. We got a 4 and a 7, so pitcher's car. So lefty switches righty, right-handed batter. We got a 4 and we got a 7, and that is a walk for Tony Fernandez. So he goes on first. He's a walk. He's going to be held on. We're not going to try to attempt a steal. We got Wally Joyner coming up. Lefty on lefty action here. And the pitch. And that's a 9. We got a 5 and a 7. So pitcher's car lefty, 5, 7. That is a strikeout of Wally Joyner. Okay. Next batter is George Bell. We're holding Tony Fernandez on at first base. Hayes. And the next pitch. We got another pitcher's count here. We got a 4 and a 2. So we got 4-2. That's a ground ball to Ozzie Smith, and it's an A, and that is going to be a double play. So we got a double play and a quick little inning for Sid Fernandez. And that inning ends in a double play. So through 3.5, American League nothing, National League nothing as well. Okay. And Roger Clemens is out. His night is over. And they are going to bring in Jack Morris. Okay. Get going there. All right. Here. Here. Okay. All right. So, coming up, we got first baseman Von Hayes. And Jack Morris coming into the game. He is through 18 starts. He is 9-8 with a 3.60 ERA. Okay, and pitch. We got a pitcher's thing here. We got a 5 and a 7, so lefty 5-7. We got a split here of a triple and a single, and the roll was a 20. So 20 on the split here is a single. So there's a single for Von Hayes, his second hit of the night. Up next is Mitch Webster. So they're going to hold Hayes on and pitch Webster. We got a 2 and an 8, righty 2-8, and that's a pop up to Wally Joyner. So that's going to be a quick out. We're still going to hold Hayes on first base. Up next is Tony Gwynn, who is 0 for 1 with a fly out to center. And we got a 6 and we got a 5. So lefty 6-5. So we got a 6-5, and that is a split again. And we got the split of a 14 there. So 6-14 split on here is a fly ball to right field B, 7 through 20, so that's 15. So that is a fly ball to Kirk Gibson. He catches the ball and gets it in there. Hayes tries to attempt, but he's going to stay back. So there's another fly ball out from Gwynn, and that's 2 outs with a man on. And up next is Ozzie Smith. And pitch Ozzie Smith. We got a 6 and a 6 and an 8. So we got right field, we got right hander. So he'd be batting left. So 6 and an 8, and that's a strikeout for Morrison. That's Ozzy's second strikeout of the game. And that's going to leave Von Hayes on first. So after 4, American League nothing, National League nothing. Okay, so coming up for the American League, third baseman Gary Gaetti. Gaetti walked his first time up. His pitch. And there's a 1 and there's 6. So 1-6 from lefty, 1-6, and that's a single for Gary Gaetti. All right. Up next is designated hitter Darrell Evans, who's 0 for 1 with a pop-up. They're not going to hold Gary Gaetti on. We got a 4 and an 8. 4 and an 8, and that's a walk. They're going to walk Evans. So we got 2 men on, with second baseman Frank White coming up. Okay, now neither runner is being held on. So Frank White. And we got a 2 and a 2, 3, 4, 5. So a 2 and a 5. Lefty, 2 and a 5. And oh, and that's a single. So we're single where the runners get to go 2 bases. So we got Gaetti's going to come around and easily score. And then Evans is going to stop at third base. And Frank White gets the American League on the board with an RBI single. Okay, next up is right fielder Kirk Gibson. He's 0 for 1 with a flyout. Okay, Frank White, not much of a speedster, so they're not going to hold him on, and they're not going to hold Darrell Evans at third base, so they're going to play back in a double play position. They're not going to play in. And the pitch. We got a 5 and a 4, so it's a pitcher's side. So lefty, lefty. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a fly ball to center field X. So the ball's hit to Mitch Webster. And we got a 7, so it's an X. And Mitch is a 3, so we got 7, 1, 2, 3. That's a shallow fly. So that's going to be a fly out, and no one's going to attempt to score on that. So that's a quick out. And with man on first and third again, they're still going to play in that double play depth. Gary Pettis up. No, Ernie Witt, not Gary Pettis. Ernie Witt is up next. All right, so playing for that double play ball. 1 out, 2 men on, 1 run in. And we got a 2 and a 7. So 2-7. So lefty, lefty, 2-7. That's a fly ball to center. B with a question mark. So that ball is hit to Mitch Webster. So Daryl Evans is going to try to score. So let's put all that calculation together. Because since we're playing this here. So we got... Okay. So Daryl Evans... He's a 1 through 10, and there's 1 out, so that says 1 through 10, 1 out, so he's 1 for 10. He wasn't being held on, so that's 1 to 11. And Mitch Webster's arm is a 0. Okay, so we're gonna try to roll between a 1 and an 11 for him to score. See if he could try to do it, or he would get doubled out. And that's an 18, and he gets thrown out at the plate. So that was a quick double play there. So we got a fly out, and Evans gets thrown out at the plate. So that ends that inning, but the American League does get on the board with 1. So they get 2 hits, and they leave 1 on. Okay. Okay. All right. There we got Eddie, White, Gibson, White, Pettis, Bell, Hernandez, Morris. Okay. Alright, so we're heading to the bottom of the 5th, so through 4.5. The American League's 1. National League is nothing. And we're going to lead off with Tim Raines. So Tim Raines. Okay. Tim Raines is 2 for 2 with 2 stolen bases, 2 singles. Another pitch. We got a 2 and a 6. So 2-6. That is a split for Raines, and that is an 8. And that will lead to 1 through 15 is a double. So that's gonna lead off the inning with a double. Okay. Up next is Steve Sachs. We're going to let him swing away this time. Let's see if we can do something here. They're holding Raines on at second. And pitch. We got a 5 and a 4. So pitcher's card. 5-4. 5-4. And that is a catcher X. So that is Ernie Witt. And Ernie Witt is... Where is Ernie Witt? Ernie Witt is a 3. And we got a 6 here. So catcher's card 6 and a 1, 2, 3. We got a wild pitch and then a pop out. So wild pitch brings over Raines the second, and then he pops out to the catcher. So he still brings him over. Pop out. So, man on third. Let's give Jack Morris here a wild pitch. Okay. So, next up is Mike Schmidt. Okay. So, we got one out. Man on third. Infield is going to play in. And let's see what Mike Schmidt can do. And we got a 1-5, so that's 1 against the right-hander, 5. That's a strikeout. That's his second strikeout of the night. So that's 2 outs. Okay, up next is George Foster. George Foster's 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout. Okay, so 2 outs. Infield's going to play back. And let's see what happens here. And the pitch. We got a 2 and a 3. And we got a 2-3. That's a fly ball, center field B question mark. But since there's 2 outs, just a fly ball to Gary Pettis, who's under it. And that is an out for Gary Pettis. So George Foster flies out to center, strands Tim Raines at third base, and that will end the bottom of the 5th. So through 5, American League 1, National League 0. Okay. Catcher, first base, shortstop, right field. These guys coming out here. Foster's still here. There we go. Schmidt's at their base. There. There's a little stir in here, so the National League is going to put in Eric Davis in center field from Cincinnati. He's going to take over for Mitch Webster. National League is going to bring in Fernando Valenzuela. And Fernando this year through 17 starts is 11-6 with a 2.51 ERA. So get those changes made really quick here. Davis there, and Valenzuela. Fernando. Okay, do that there. Gonna bring in Eric Davis. Mitch Webster. And Mitch Webster, his night is over. Okay. Along with him. And him. Okay. So. Okay. So we're heading to the top of the 6th. with the top of the order coming up. So coming up now is leadoff batter center fielder Gary Pettis. He's 0 for 2. Okay, and there's the pitch. And it's a 3 and a 7. So 3 and a 7, 3, 7. That is a strikeout. So Pettis strikes out. Okay. Up next is going to be a pinch hitter for Tony Fernandez. And that is going to be shortstop from the Oakland A's, Alfredo Griffin. I think he's going to be batting righty. Okay, so we got 1 out. Alfredo Griffin's up. And we got a 6 and an 8. So lefty, so it'll be batting righty. 6 and an 8. And that's a fly ball to Eric Davis. And that's an out. So that's 2 quick outs. Okay. Next up is first baseman Wally Joyner. He is 0 for 2 with a strikeout. And we got a 5, as you can see. A 5 and a 5 and a 6. So another pitcher's card. So lefty 5, 6, and that's a strikeout. And he'll strike him out. Quick work for Fernando in the 6th. So through 5.5, the American League won. National League, nothing. Okay. Okay. That thing. First baseman Alfredo Griffin is going to take over for Fernandez at shortstop. And the American League's going to send new pitcher Mike Witt from the California Angels to come in for the bottom of the 6th. So Jack Morris's night is done. And Mike Witt's going to take over for him. Okay. Leading off in the National League is going to be catcher Gary Carter, who's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. And here's the picture. We got a 2 and a 9. So 2-9, that is a strikeout. Carter goes down. Next up is first baseman Vaughn Hayes. Vaughn Hayes is 2 for 2 tonight. we got a 3 and a 12. So 3, 12, 3, 12. That's a single out to George Bell. That's another hit for Hayes. Okay, up next is Eric Davis. And Hayes is going to try to see if he could steal the base. So he's an A, which is a 1 through 15. He's being held on, which is 1 to 13. And then Ernie Witt's a -1, so that's 1 to 12. So he's going to try to steal 1 to 12 here. Try to get something going here for the National League. And it's a 10. So he swipes second base. So National League is really running all over Ernie Witt tonight. So 1 out, man on first and second, or man on second. And Eric Davis, the hitter. All right. And the pitch. We got a 2 and a 7, so that's a hitter's count. So 2, 7. Oh, that's a strikeout. Strikes out Eric Davis for the second out of the inning. Kind of a rally killer there. All right, coming up, who's 0 for 2 tonight is Tony Gwynn. National League could use a base hit from Tony to tie this up. Here's the pitch. We got a 6-10, so lefty 6-10. That's a fly ball out to center, and it's a fly ball X out to Gary Pettis. And Pettis is a 1. And we got 7 on the board, and a 7 is a fly out. So it's just another loud out to center field. And that's going to strand yet another batter on for the National League. So through 6, American League 1, National League 0. Okay, since we're heading into the top of the 7th, Bobby Valentine is going to take over Pat Corrales' job duties as third base coach, and manager Dick Hauser is going to take over first base coach duties for John McNamara for the rest of the game. Six. Schmidt, Fernando, Ozzy, Gary, Eric, Tony, and Von Hayes. Okay. Okay, Fernando's coming out for his second inning of work. He's going to be facing off against cleanup hitter George Bell. George Bell is 1 for 2 with a double and double played last time. So here's the pitch. We get a 6 and a 4, so 6-4. That's a fly ball out to Eric Davis in center field. The fly ball X. Eric is a 1, and we got a 3 on the deal, and that is a fly ball C. So George Bell, that's a fly out, which leads up to our next batter, Gary Gaetti, who's 1 for 1 for the night. He hit single last time up and scored on Frank White's single. pitch. We got a 3 and an 8. So 3 and an 8. 3, 8. And that's just a ground ball to Ozzie Smith. Smith turns around, throws it to Hayes. And Getty's out at first for the second out of the inning. Next up is designated hitter Darrell Evans. He's 0 for 1 tonight. He walked last time up. We got a 5 and a 4. So lefty, 5 floor. That's a ground ball to third baseman X. So ground ball third baseman Schmidt. Schmidt's a 1. And we got a 13 on that roll. So we got third base. 13, okay. So we got to go to the errors side of the things. Oh my God, I guess. Schmidt is an E8. So E8, let's shake the 2 dice. And that's a 2, so third base, E8, 2. So that's an E through, okay, so we gotta shake the white dice now. And that's a 2, so E8, 2, 2. Oh man, 1 through 4 is a 2-base error. Oh, that's gonna hurt. There's a 2-base error, probably overthrow by Mike Schmidt. So that's gonna be an E5, an extra base. Okay, so next up is Frank White. They're not going to hold Evans on. He's not going anywhere. He's 0 stolen bases on the year. Okay, let's see what the National League could do here. Man on second, 2 outs. And we got a 2 and an 8. So 2, 8, 2, 8. And that's a split for Frank White. And that's a 3. And 1 through 5 is a home run. So Frank White has smashed the ball over Tim Raines' head. And there is a home run for Frank White, who is really heating up. And that error really hurt the National League on that. So, still a little stirring up there in the bullpen, the National League, with Kirk Gibson coming up. Gibson's up, 2 outs. We got a 3 and a 4, 3, 4, and that's a ground ball to Steve Sachs. Sachs throws to Hayes for the 3rd out of the inning, but not before Frank White's home run and the error from Schmidt. They give 2 to the American League. So after 6.5, we got the American League 3, National League nothing. Okay, since this is the halfway point, we're going to be switching out a lot of players. So, for the American League, let's get here. All right, let's do this by position. So, we got Phil Bradley is going to be taking over left for George Bell. Okay. Ricky Henderson is going to be taking over center field for Gary Pettis. Jesse Barfield is taking over right field for Kurt Gibson. Then we got Jim Sundberg's taking over catcher for Ernie Witt. Joe Carter's taking over first base from Wally Joyner. Wade Boggs is taking over third base from Gary Gaetti. Marty Barrett's taking over second base from Frank White. Alfredo Griffin's still going to stay in at shortstop. Mike Witt's going to stay in the pitch. Okay. Now, let's make a couple of these. Write these things down really quick. And get this set up for the National League. Okay, so that means all the position players have now started. So they hit their qualifications. And Mike Witt's going to come in and pitch another inning. I'm just trying to get this done really quick, so sorry for the moment silences here. Writing all this stuff down before I forget. All right, so we're heading into the bottom of the 7th, 3-0 American League. And we got Ozzie Smith. Ozzie Smith will be leading off against Mike Witt. So Mike Witt, Ozzie Smith. Where are you? Okay. So Ozzie gonna be batting lefty here. Okay, here we go. Bottom of the 7th. Okay, we got a 3 and an 8. 3 and 8. So we got 3, 8. That's a fly ball to left. So Phil Bladley gets right underneath it, and that's a quick fly out for the Wizard, who ends up being 0 for 3 for the night with 2 strikeouts. Then up next now is Tim Raines. He's batting 3 for 3 tonight. A double, 2 singles, and 2 stolen bases. He's definitely doing his best here to help out the National League squad. Let's see what he does here against Mike Witt. 1 out now. And that's a 6 and a 4. So right, 6-4 is left. 6-4. That's a ground ball to short. So ground ball short B. Ground ball to Alfredo Griffin off to Joe Carter. And that's the first time they get Tim Raines out this game. So it's a ground out the shortstop. So that's 2 quick outs. Up next is Steve Sachs. Steve Sachs is 0 for 2 tonight. Popped out last time up. And we got a 3 and a 9. And 3, 9, and that's a walk. So he walks. Okay, there's 2 outs here. Got to get something going. Sachs is a speedster here. And Jim Sundberg, he's at a -1-2, but it's worth the shot. So we got coming up now is Mike Schmidt. Oh, that's not that's Mike Schmidt's card. Mike Schmidt's card. So we got Mike Schmidt. And Sachs is a AA, which is 1 through 17, being held on. So that's 1 through 15. Sundberg is a 1, so 1 through 14. So he's going to try to see if he can get on Mike Witt and Jim Sundberg, try his arm. And there's a 1. So that's a 1, so it's automatically second base. But since it's a 1, we're going to triple C again, because see if he can get an extra base out of this. And that's a 20. And Jim Sundberg is it's a T 1 through 4. Okay, so nope, nothing gets away. So it's just a quick stolen base. So there's a walk and a stolen base for Sachs. So there's 2 outs with Schmidt up. And the pitch to Schmidt. We got a 6 and a 4. 6-4 is a ground ball to Wade Boggs, right to Joe Carter for the out. And that gets them out of the inning. Ground out, leave another man left on base. So through 7, we got the American League 3, National League nothing. Okay, so National League's gonna pretty much do the same exact thing. They're gonna have a bunch of different guys coming in to satisfy their need. So bring off these guys. Got there. Okay, so National League. So we got Whitey Herzog. He's going to take over for Tommy Lasorda. It's the third base coach. And Houston Astros manager Hal Lanier is taking over for Davey Johnson at first base. No, wait a second. Not yet. That's next inning. I'm thinking of the American League. American League got it coming in. Dick Hauser and Bobby Valentine. Those are the guys that are coming out. Sorry about that. Okay. So now for the National League, we got Vince Coleman. He's going to be playing left for Tim Raines. Juan Samuel is going to take over second base for Steve Sachs. Eric Davis is still going to be out in center field. Andre Dawson, he's going to take over in right field for Tony Gwynn. Craig Reynolds is going to take over shortstop from Ozzie Smith. Buddy Bell's going to take over third base for Mike Schmidt. Jody Davis is going to take over catching duties from Gary Carter. Bob Horner is going to take over first base for Von Hayes. Okay. The National League's going to bring in Nolan Ryan, the pitch. Okay. So, another 2 innings down. So, we're heading to the top of the 8th, 3-0 American League. Okay, we're going to lead off. Lead off with Jim Sundberg. Against Nolan Ryan. Okay. Okay, Sundberg's going to be batting against Nolan Ryan. And the pitch. We got a 1 and an 8. So righty 1-8. And that's a pop-up to Buddy Bell. So that's the first out of the inning. Next up, center fielder Ricky Henderson. Ricky Henderson this year, in 72 games, is hitting .263 with 12 home runs, 42 RBIs, and 59 stolen bases. He's coming in here. And he's going against Ryan. And the pitch. We got a 6 and a 5. So 6 and a 5. That's a ground ball to shortstop X. So he's going to hit that ball to Craig Reynolds. Craig Reynolds is a 3. And we got a 14. So 14, 1 through 3 is a ground ball C. So it's just a ground out. So Henderson will ground out the short. Okay, so that's Henderson. Nope. Knock that over. That's the best I could do. All right, and so now Alfredo Griffin is up. Alfredo Griffin flied out last time. I forgot to say his stats for the year. So Alfredo Griffin, in 90 games, is hitting .326 with 8 home runs, 59 RBIs, and 29 stolen bases. So he'll be batting lefty. And there's 2 outs. And there's a 5 and a 7. So 5 and a 7 for Alfredo Griffin. Lefty, 5-7. That's a strikeout. So Nolan Ryan gets him out. And through 7.5, it's 3-0 American League. American League, they're going to bring in a new pitcher. And they're going to bring in Bert Blyleven for the Minnesota Twins. And before Mike Witt leaves, through 18 innings, it was a 12-5 record with .280 ERA. Bert Blyleven through 18 is 11-7 with a .406 ERA. So that's what we got to look forward to coming up in the bottom of the 8th. Okay. So we got Bert Blyleven. Okay, he's got another pitch. Marty Beard at second base, Carter at first, Jesse in right, Boggs at third, Phil at third base. Jim Silver catcher, center field, shortstop. And now we got Whitey Horzog is going to take over for Tommy Lasorda at third base coach. And Hal Lanier is going to take over for Davy Johnson at first base. So, all right, with our new staff coming in, and it's going to be batting for DH George Foster is going to be Ron Say. Ron Say, through 65 games this year, is hitting .312 with 17 home runs, 38 RBIs, and 0 stolen bases. So Ron Say, he's going to come up. Okay. I got Burt Blyleven. Against Ron Say. Okay. And there is the pitch. We got a 4 and a 9. So 4-9, that's a split. And we got a 13 here. So 13 split, 1 through 9 is a single, 10 through 20 is a ground ball to first base. So Ron Say, he grounds out to Joe Carter for the first out of the inning. Okay, next up to bat is from the Chicago Cubs, Jody Davis. Jody Davis, through 76 games, is hitting .237 with 13 home runs and 40 RBIs. Okay. And a pitch to him. We got a 4 and 10. 4-10 is a fly ball to center X. Fly ball to Ricky Henderson, who's a 1. And we got a 12 on this deal. And we got... Okay, so that's going to go to his error card. So with that being said, he is an E7. So E7, shake the 2. We got 8. So E7 and an 8, 1 through 11 is a fly ball B. So that's a fly out to Ricky Henderson. Okay, coming up next is going to be Bob Horner, the new first baseman from the Atlanta Braves. And through 76 games, he's hitting .311 with 20 home runs and 56 RBIs. Okay. And then, let's see. He's going to come up. And where is his card? Jody Davis. Bob Horner there. Okay, next pitch. We got a 1 here. So a 1 and a 3. So 1-3 is a ground ball first base C. So he hits a ground ball to Joe Carter. Carter just steps on the bag. And that's an easy 1-2-3 inning for Burt Blyleven. So we're going to be heading into the 9th inning. American is up 3-0. So center fielder Len Dykstra is going to come in for Eric Davis. And everyone else is going to be the same. Reynolds, Dawson, Valentine's here. Samuel, it's Coleman. There's Hauser. Okay. Okay. So going to the top of the ninth. Scores 3-0 American League. Again, we're playing 12. So we're gonna have an at bat by first baseman Joe Carter. Joe Carter this year, through 76 games, is batting .315 with 17 home runs, 58 RBIs, and 21 stolen bases. Okay. And the pitch. I got a 4 and a 7, so 4-7, that's a walk. So Carter's on first base with a walk, which brings up Phil Bradley. Phil Bradley this year, he is in 70 games, batting .304 with 10 home runs, 41 RBIs, and 6 stolen bases. So we're going to get him up. Okay. Man on first, Phil Bradley up. And that's a 6 and a 4. 6-4. That is ground ball shortstop X. And that's hit to Craig Reynolds, who's a 3. And we got a 4 here. So shortstop 4. And then we got 1, 2, no. Got 3, and it's a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that a single? So there's a single right past Craig Reynolds. So there's a single for Phil Bradley. Next up is Wade Boggs. Okay. Wade Boggs, through 84 games, is hitting .351 with 4 home runs, 41 RBIs, and 1 stolen base. Let's see what he could do here against Nolan Ryan. The bullpen is stirring up there. And I got the next pitch. We got a 2 and a 5. So righty, we got 2-5. That's a ground ball, second base C. So that's a ground ball to Juan Samuel. Samuel just throws it to first base. And Carter and Bradley advance a base. Okay. So up next is Dave Kingman. He's taking over DH duties for Darrell Evans. And Kingman this year, through 74 games, is hitting .227 with 24 home runs and 64 RBIs. And okay, so There is 1 out, and the infield is playing in. And we got a 1 and an 11. So, right, 1, 11. That's a ground ball to short A. So the ball's hit to Craig Reynolds, who throws to home plate. And Carter's out at home. Bradley goes to third. And Kigman is sitting at first base. Okay. Next up is second baseman Marty Barrett. Marty Barrett, through 81 games, is hitting .291 with 3 home runs, 34 RBIs, and 14 stolen bases. Okay. There's 2 outs, 2 on. They're going to play back with 2 outs. And the pitch, we got a 5 and a 2. Yeah, it's pitcher's card. 5-2 is a fly ball to left B, but since there's 2 outs, the ball lands in Vince Coleman's glove, and they get out of yet another jam. But the American League gets a hit, and they strand 2 on base. And through 8.5, the score is 3-0. First, Bradley, Boggs, Barrett, Henderson, Griffin, Sundberg, Barfield, and American League is going to send in John Candelaria. Pitch tonight. And there he is there. Okay. Candelaria. Okay, now where is the National League, guys? These are all here. Okay. So, all right. All right, so coming up at the bottom of the 9th, we got Lenny Dykstra, lefty on lefty. Okay. Okay, so, and we got a 1 and a 6. So we got a lefty, 1-6. It's a split, and we got a 20. And 1 through 19 is a single, and a line out to second base is 20. So Lane Dykstra lines out to Marty Barrett for the first out. American League, National League can't get any help. So, all right, next batter up, right fielder, Andre Dawson. Okay. One down. Dawson's up. And we got a 2 and a 6. 2, 6, and that's a single for Dawson. So he gets on first base with a single. Next batter up is shortstop Craig Reynolds. There's a lefty. So there's one out, one on. They're holding on to Dawson at first base. He's being held. And we got a 4 and a 9. 4, 9, and that's a strikeout. That's going to be the second out of the inning. Up next, Vince Coleman. Vince Coleman on the year is 88 games, batting .210, no home runs, 17 RBIs, 83 stolen bases. So he's definitely got the speed. Okay, and the pitch is a 3 and 11. So 3-11. That's a ground ball to first base Joe Carter. And that's going to be a quick throw. And he's out at first base. And that'll end the 9th. And we're going to head to the 10th. Okay. Dawson to right, short, left, third base, second base, first base, catcher. We got center field, and National League is bringing in pitcher from the Pirates, Jose De Leon. And he's through 17 games. He's 14 and 3 with a 2.45 ERA. Okay, so coming up the bat, right fielder Jesse Barfield. Okay, first pitch. We got a 2 and a 9. So righty, 2-9. That's a strikeout for Barfield. And Barfield, he was hitting .304 with 21 home runs, 58 RBIs through 75 games. Up now is catcher Jim Sundberg. He's 0 for 1. He popped out last time. We got a 2 and a 7. 2, 7. He gets walked. Next up is Ricky Henderson. He's 0 for 1 with a ground out. It's 5 and 4. 5 and 4, and that's a strikeout. And coming up next, Alfredo Griffin's going to have a pinch hitter. And it's going to be Cal Ripken Jr. Cal Ripken Jr. through 87 games this year is batting .303 with 20 home runs and 65 RBIs. And we got a 4 and a 6. So 4-6. That's a fly ball out to Dykstra, and that is an out. And that will end the inning. Okay, so Cal Ripken's going to take over as shortstop. American League's going to bring in a new pitcher from the Oakland Athletics. It's going to be Moose Haas. Okay, so coming up in the bottom of 10 is second baseman Juan Samuel. Through 80 games, he's hitting .274 with 7 home runs, 35 RBIs, and 47 stolen bases. Okay. Okay, it's a 2 and a 9. And that is a strikeout. Next up, third baseman Buddy Bell. Buddy Bell, through 79 games this year, is batting .249 with 12 home runs and 38 RBIs. All right. We got a 2 and a 10. So righty 2, 10. That's a foul out to Wade Boggs. So that's the second out of the inning. Up next is designated hitter Ron Say. Okay, there's 2 outs. And we got a 5 and a 7. 5, 7, and that's a strikeout. Another quick inning for the American League. Okay, National League is going to bring in Bob Ojeda. It's a pitch. And also, Kevin Boss going to play right field. He'll take over for Andre Dawson. Okay. So, leading off for the American League, Joe Carter. And it's a 1 and an 11. And that's a ground ball to Bob Horner, and that's an out. Next up is Phil Bradley. And we got a 5-10. And 5-10. That's a ground ball to third base, which is Buddy Bell. Buddy Bell is a 2, and we got an 11 on this deal. So we gotta go to the E card. So I'm gonna take a look and see. He is an E11. So E11, we're gonna shake the dice. It's a 3. E11. A 3 is a 1 base error. So Phil Bradley's on with an error. 5. And that's Buddy Bell. Okay. Right, next up is Wade Boggs. There's 1 out. You got a 2-5. 2-5 is a fly ball to left field. Vince Coleman's gonna catch that. Next one up Dave Kingman, 2 outs. And we got a 2-3. And a 2-3 is a walk. So Kingman's on with the walk. Okay, there's 2 outs. Next up is Marty Barrett. I got a 6 there. So we got a 3-9. 3-9 is a ground ball to Juan Samuel. It just throws it right to Bob Horner, gets that force out, or gets that ground out, and that will end the inning with 2 left on. We're heading into the bottom of the 11th. American League 3, National League nothing. First, left, third base. In here, second base, catcher, right field, short. And Odabe McDowell's going to come in for Ricky Henderson at center. And so coming in for the American League is Baltimore reliever Don Ace. Also warming up in the bullpen is Donnie Moore and Joe Cowley. Okay, so Don A's, he's going to face Jody Davis. Okay, and the pitch. We got a 1 and a 12, right? 1-12, that's a fly ball to Odabe McDowell, and that is an out. He flies out. American League is taking out Don A's. And they are putting in Donnie Moore to face Bob Horner. And that's a 2 and 8. So 2-8, that's a split. And we got a 14. And then there's a single. There's 1 through 15. So there is a single for Bob Horner. So he's on first base. Okay. American League then brings in Joe Cowley. To face Lenny Dykstra. Okay, and we got a 3 and a 9, and 3, 9, and at the ground ball second base B. So he hits it to Marty Barrett. Marty Barrett steps on the bag, but they can't get the speedy Dykstra. He's at first. Fielder's choice, that's 2 outs. And coming up next is Kevin Boss. And he's gonna be going. American League's gonna bring in Mark Eckhorn to face him. Okay, 2 outs, 1 on. We got a 5 and a 5. Eckhorn. He's batting a lefty. Oh, I did that. So lefty 5-5. There's a single to Jesse Barfield. Up next is Craig Reynolds. American League's gonna bring in Mark Clear. Okay, there's 2 men on, 2 men out. And we got a 2-9. 2-9. It's a ground ball to Marty Barrett. Barrett just steps on the bag, and that's the second out. Or that's the last out of the 11th. 2 hits, 2 left on. And again, through 11, American League leading 3-0. Okay, so we're heading in to the top of the 12th. It's the final inning. American League's up 3-0. Dykstra's in center. Jerry Davis, Boston right. Short. Second, left, third base, first base. That. American League is here. Okay, the National League. I'm going to start off with Jesse Barfield. He's 0 for 1. And he's going to be going against Gene Garber for Atlanta Braves. Okay. First pitch. We had 3-9. 3-9. That's a strikeout. Okay. Next pitcher is going to be Dwight Gooden. Dwight Gooden's coming in against Jim Sundberg. Next pitch. Oh, Jim Sundberg. I'm going to put him out. We got a 3 and a 12. 3-12. That's a fly ball to Vince Coleman. He is out. Okay. Fly out. Okay. Next up now is O to B McDowell. And National League's going to bring in John Franco. Okay. And the pitch. 4 and a 9. 4-9. Ground ball is short. That's a 3. We got an 18. 18 went to 3. The ground ball throws out the Bob Horner, gets him out. And that is the end of the 12th. And then we're going into the bottom of the 12th. It is 3-0. Okay. So we got the final hurrah for the National League. They're down 3 runs. Let's see what they could do. American League's going to bring in Steve Farr. Steve Farr this year in 24 games has a .92 ERA. There's 3-0 with 1 save and 17 holds. He'll be batting against Vince Coleman. Lefty. Okay. Vince Coleman. Steve Farr. Here's the pitch. We got a 6 and an 8. So that's 6, 8, and that's a strikeout of Vince Coleman. Next up is Juan Samuel. Let's pitch. We got a 6 and a 7. 6, 7 is a walk. Samuel's going to steal. He's a double, so he's 117. Held on is 115. Sundberg's -1, so 114. He gets a 2. Possible another base. 8. Sandberg's going 1 through 4. So stolen base on that walk. Okay, next up is Buddy Bell. That's a 3 and a 10. 3, 10. That's a pop up to Ripken, so that's an out. That's the second out. And American League is going to put in their final pitcher, Willie Hernandez. Willie Hernandez on the season. In 28 games, he's 2-4 with 19 saves and a 4.76 ERA. Next up is Ron Say. Potentially the final out for the All-Star game. And the pitch. We got a 5 and a 5. Ron Say, 5-5. There's a walk. Up now is Jody Davis. Two men on, 2 outs, down 3-0, and Jody Davis do something here. And the pitch, it's a 4 and a 7, and Jody Davis 4-7. This is a split, and it's a 12. So a 4-7 split. And that is a line drive to Wade Boggs to end the inning and end the the All-Star game. So that will end this long game. And the American League will then have home field advantage for the World Series. The National League will have 2 added wildcard teams to their playoff side. And despite the MVP of the All-Star game, even though it looks like Tim Raines was was really good is going to go to Kansas City second baseman Frank White. He's got all three RBIs for the game. He went 2 for 3 with a single and a home run and 3 RBIs. So he is the All-Star MVP for 1986. And the win is going to go to... Who's the win going to go to? The win's going to go to... The win's going to go to Mike Witt. And the loss is going to go to Fernando Valenzuela. And everyone pretty much after that gets a hold. And Willie Hernandez will get the save. So, this is the end of this very long video and this play along for the All-Star game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Again, 1986, American League 3, National League 0. All the information will be put on another presentation. So for now, as always, play ball, everybody.